be together, have kids, because I felt like we were more fun back then.
It is kind of hurtful for you to say that. Some of the things that I don't like about you, I still would do it over again. So it is fairly hurtful to hear that.
Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We're talking to you guys about Love and Marriage DC, specifically talking about episode 10. It was a storm and a storm. It was a storm. It was a blaze. It was a. You know what? I don't know what I'm saying. Listen, it was a crazy episode. That's what I'm gonna say. It was a crazy episode. We had Monique and Chris, and I mean, it was. I mean, I watched it and I said, this is painful to watch. To see Chris and Monique in this situation, especially because of the way that Monique was talking to Chris. And then we also saw DJ Quick and Ashley. Who cheated on who? Who gonna check me, boo? Situation between Ash and Quick, which ended on a more positive note towards the end of this episode. We're going to break it down quickly on episode 10. I'll just break down some of the things that happen as well. So if you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor, like it, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. We appreciate you. Stay locked and stay loaded as well. If you're a returnee, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because the streets out there, they are hot. All right, let's get into the video as well, dealing with episode 10. DJ Quick and Ashley, who cheated on who, boo? Who cheated on who, boo? All right, cool. Let's get into this. It was interesting, isn't it? Because I think sometimes, you know what? You have stories that you didn't even realize your partner doesn't know. You thought they knew, but they didn't know. And now it's been exposed. It's causing potential issues, right? Let's have a little look at this scenario first and foremost. Let's look at this.
Oh, that's not cheating. You're mad because you got cheated on. Yes, we were not together. We were not together. We were in a situationship. I did not live there.
We were together. That's cool.
I did not live there.
All right, so DJ Quick and Ashley had a massive blow up actually with the group. It wasn't even a massive blow up, but it was a very stern disagreement about who cheated on who. Now, we know that these two have been cheating on each other at the very beginning of the relationship, and they both got their quote unquote licks back on one another. I think what was quite interesting was how Ashley was calling out DJ Quick for, quickly stating how, he got his in, but then she quickly also fired back by saying, you know what, you do yours, I got mine in back as well. Okay, so there's a little bit of tit for tat with this whole cheating situation. As she said, she only cheated to get back at him whenever he did it. Either way, and then at one point she tried to kind of say, well, she was 18 or 19 at the time when it happened, or 17 whenever this happened. I'm like, baby, it doesn't matter what age you were, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Our youthfulness is not an excuse if we're moving mad. I mean, of course, we all grow and learn and we all mature. But that's not an excuse for your particular behavior. You behave like that not because you were 17. You behave like that because you wanted to. If you wanted to cheat or you wanted to move mad or you wanted to do for tit for tat, you did that not because you were 17, but you did that because that's what you chose. Of course, your age and maturity will come into play, but you did what you wanted to do. And I think, when I heard that, I was like, is she deflecting a little bit? Is she not taking accountability for her particular actions? I get it. Quick, you've had to raise him. Like you said, you've had to deal with Quick for a very long time. And had to battle several battles, and including this particular one where they were talking about him cheating and, the fact that there was another girl in the house and stuff like this. So Ashley's actually come from a very crazy place with DJ Quick. And obviously I think they had a kid as well, so quite early. So I think that also played a big role in it. But I'm like, why do we have that situation so early on in the relationship and we continued? Why do we have all the madness and unsurety? It sounds like there was unsurety in terms of the fact that she's saying she didn't know she was in a relationship. He's saying that you were in a relationship. She was like, I didn't have a key to the house. He's saying basically, you know what, you had a key, you were able to come and stay, you know what, and then we all find out that there was cheating going on. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, what are we actually experiencing here? And then it gets out of hand. Let's go.
We're good now. So we're good now. We're good now.
God, if I didn't have a key, I did not live there. That's all that matters. No, because Quick is trying to act like he's big man on campus.
I'm not perfect. No, I'm gonna tell you.
Now, it's clear that Ashley wants to bring him down a peg or two. The same way she actually wanted to bring Winter down as well, which, whether you agree with it or not, it's up to you. But there's a humbling that Ashley likes to try to do. Like, she tried to humble Winter And now she also wants to humble DJ Quick. I think that's Ashley's thing. She likes to humble people. You know, now she may say that she's not trying to do that, but that's what it feels like when you are saying, like, in that moment, he was just explaining the fact that, listen, look, I cheated in the past, you know, etc., etc. And then it almost turns as, maybe she read it as him being arrogant. Maybe she also read, I'm going to give it a benefit of doubt. Maybe she read his behavior as being arrogant in the way he kind of said it without remorse. And so she thought to herself, if that's what you're doing, trust me, I've got stories for days I can get back at you. Don't try to play me that game. Maybe that's a part of the reasoning why that actually happened, or why that particular situation kicked off the way it did, because it just was like 0 to 100 really, really quickly, and really, really painfully too at the same time. I was like, what's going on here? Why are we kicking off in this particular fashion and this particular style? But I guess it gets at that point in time. All right, cool. Let's watch a bit more and talk about what's happening.
Ever played me? I got my lick back. I don't play that.
So it sounds like Ashley felt offended in that moment by his particular behavior, to the point where she said, you know what, don't worry about that. I got my lick back in. It's almost as if she's trying to equalize the table. Like, if before you get gassed about what you did, just know that I leveled the playing field. Just know I got my lick back in as well. Just know that I did my thing too. You understand? And that's quite interesting as well, that we're in a situation where that is a part of the ethos of the marriage and relationship. So we have from Ashley's point of view so far, is a tit for tat kind of situation. You got me, I'm gonna get you. You got me, I'm gonna get you back. And that is from a very hurt place. When you start to go into a very tit for tat mode, it really is a combative type of behavior. And I'm not just saying for her, obviously for DJ Quick too, but when you have that combative energy, where I say combative, it can become passive aggressive in that movement. It's rather than using your actual words to establish how you feel, you tend to use actions to show the person this is how you feel. So actually, really, it's a downplay on actually how you actually feel. You want to be able to express that this hurts and this, I don't like this, but it didn't feel safe to do so, whether that's from childhood, whether that's to the marriage or relationship you had with DJ Quick. You didn't feel safe to do so, so you decided, I'm going to show you dangerous, so that you can feel how dangerous it is for me on the edge. I want you to feel it too. And hopefully that should change your mind around a little bit, right? That's also interesting as well. Morning Infinite Rock, love to hear you. Love to see you around. All right, cool. Let me put this on. Ooh.
Ready, B?
Most basic cut.
Come on.
Oh, I didn't get the right clip. Apologies, guys. I wanted to go to the part where they were talking a little bit later on, which I'll bring up, where they were discussing their particular relationship and discussing what had happened between the two of them. Now, what was interesting was the way she described the fact that she had unfairly had to raise him for 20 years. Let's have a look if we can get that clip up as well.
I don't want to say raised, but raised.
Raise, but say it. Use the word.
And I've gotten the short end of the stick a lot of times in our marriage, and I feel like that hasn't always been fair.
And that is the biggest issue. You raised him. Why did you raise him? Why did you choose someone you had to raise and then feel resentful after? But I guess obviously because he made a promise when he was younger, and because obviously they had a kid together early as well, I guess that feeling of where else can I go kind of maybe started sinking for Ashley. And therefore, you know what she said to herself, and this is her temperament. It's not just the fact that she's just did that because of her situation. I think that's her temperament. Well, if I'm stuck in it, I'm going to make sure I'm going to get mine. Because if you get me, I'm going to get you. And it makes sense as to why there's so much... It makes sense as to why there's so much tit for tat, because if there was at a young age and they're feeling trapped, DJ Quick probably had a kid of her, but probably might not have been ready to have the kid. Now she feels trapped. He feels, he feels that he may be trapped too. And now there's a warfare that's happening emotionally within a relationship that helps push people towards other people in other spaces. And that contributes towards being unfaithful and being being unable to remain faithful to your partner. You know, because honestly, I was really asking myself, why did she say about having to raise him? Like, what does that mean?
over the past 15 years, I have had to help Quick mature, to grow, to teach him. He didn't really know how to love somebody. He didn't know how to be a husband.
And my question is, if he didn't really know how to love somebody, why the frick are we teaching him? Why was that your job? Why was that your job to try and teach him? You'd be surprised, as you became a teacher that was slightly more knowledgeable than him, or maybe majorly more knowledgeable, you were also learning about yourself too. You were also learning. So while you also being a teacher, there was a privilege of you being a teacher because you were learning and growing. Trouble is, that's not the position you wanted to be in, which meant accountability for as to what kind of relationship do I want to be in. So any woman or man out there listening to this, what was the reason for going into a relationship? To train someone and build them up. That's what you do with a protege, not a partner. Now, if you're trying to rear them up and train them up, you're going to have a very difficult time in the future. As DJ Quick and why's the name gone out my head? It's gone out my head. And Ashley, they're having to figure it out now as they go along because of what they've chosen, the path they've chosen. But the truth of the matter is, if she saw that she had to train him, that wasn't the right place to be for her then. You know what I mean? Wasn't the right place to be. Monique King says, his mum passed away when he was 10. I believe his dad passed at 18. She was a nurturer, I guess. Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. That was definitely a big thing. Remember, and also he took care of his younger brother as well, as he was saying. Like his older brother. He even became the older brother by default, just by the way that he would handle things, as we saw in a couple of episodes back. So he's always had a very kind of maybe I have to help people, I have to support people on his shoulders. But hasn't had time to really reflect and just deep and say, what happened to me as a younger? How did the pain affect me? How did it change me? Probably hasn't had that time to reflect on it. But then obviously when he meets, obviously Ashley, she obviously carries this nurturing spirit. She carries this powerful spirit. And I guess maybe that's where they connected, you know. Maybe they connected at a point where she was happy to play the nurturer in this case, but didn't realize the gravity of how much nurturing she would actually be encouraged to do. Now, of course, nobody can predict how much nurturing you're probably going to have to do, or predict certain things in the future. But you want to give yourself the best possible chance at all, which is not choosing somebody at all. You're going to have to try and nurture and mold into a particular space. You know what I'm saying? Cami K says, believe it was by default since he didn't have his parents in his formative years. He didn't have a structure for that. Okay. Alice Evans says, Monique is ungrateful. She thinks she has arrived. Girl, be careful. Ungratefulness is a major sin. Okay, cool. But yeah, so with DJ Quick and Ashley, I'll be honest with you, it was interesting to see them talk about their cheating. You know, I want to see if I can get this clip. Internet Mini. Okay, cool. Maybe I can get a clip for you guys. Oh, okay. I think I took it off there. No, I took it off. All right. So, yeah, that. Let's go. There we go. I'll pull it back up, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah. So with Ashley and DJ Quick, you know, they're not in a bad place per se. They're not in a bad place. It's just things that can be improved upon. It's not they're in a bad place because clearly they're actually getting along. Clearly they're working. Clearly it works for them, whatever they've chosen to do. I just think to myself that there are probably going to be some built-up resentments that have not been discussed as of yet.
And I've had to teach him all of those things. And I kind of feel like that's kind of unfair because nobody taught me how to be a wife. And I'm a damn good wife.
But I married Ashley to...
I hear that still. You know, it's unfair because you've had to do it for 20 years, but you chose this life. You chose a life to be a person who would train another man. That's what you did, right? Because you knew he wasn't ready. He told you this when they first started dating, that, you know what, I'll marry you later on when I feel. But was he ready? And were you ready if you couldn't spot that you were going to have to train him? It goes both ways. Were you also ready? Because if you spotted you have to train him, why did you want to enter and agree into that relationship in the first place? What's going through your mind to think that? And that's a key question one has to ask himself. As much as we can point the finger at someone else, why am I still in this situation? Why am I still involved? Why is my name being still passed around? Why does my name be involved in this situation? And it's because there's certain things that you do that doesn't necessarily agree with the situation you're in. Yeah? Let's watch a bit more and then
Today, absolutely yes. You know why? For all the reasons you just said. Before I met you, I did not know what love looked or felt like. I did not know what
Now, loving words from DJ Quick. He said he'll marry her again, which is fair enough. You know, no one's got a beef with that. What's interesting is the fact that she said she'll have to think about it. You know, because for her, you know, she's had to build him up. She's had to do a build-a-bear situation. So she suffered in those 20 years, whereas he has enjoyed the benefits and the reapings of her nurturing care, some would say. But also as well, he's turned into a provider. He's not like he's left her or anything. He's turned into a provider. He provides for his family. He wants to love her, wants to care for her, wants to appreciate her. She's one of the lucky ones. Can I be honest with you? Ashley is one of those lucky girls because other ladies will choose a build-a-bear and the bear will end up killing them. Other ladies will choose a bear of a man and the other bear of a man will not. Will have kids with her but not pay anything. Ashley's lucky. Yeah, Ashley's lucky. Ashley got a decent gentleman who was willing to try and put the work in now. Maybe 20 years a bit late for her, but he was putting the work in to the point that where he's willing to provide for his family and for you. And then clearly, obviously, having, I guess, you guys foundation of that friendship from a very young age, it's also a very healthy component to also building a great foundation for the future as well. Having that friendship from early on as well, which would have helped them. Let's watch a bit more.
Conditional love was. All my life, every love and every person came with a condition. As long as I could do something for them, they were there. The second.
So DJ Quick is saying, obviously, the fact that, you know what? The fact that she had unconditional love. And listen, let me be honest with you. All love by human beings is in some way or shape or form, unless it's your blood, conditional. You do something, I can fall out of love with you. You don't do something, I can fall out of love with you. You know, being in love with you is by no means a guarantee that will last to the end. So look, you know, you have to give room for conditionality in that love because humans they fall short. If it was unconditional, unlike a parent to a child, if it was unconditional relationships, there'd be a whole lot of mess up because a lot of men specifically move very mad. A lot of women do too, but you know, both parties do move mad as well. But conditionality is important because as human beings, we are flawed. And therefore, if it wasn't that such way, you'd only be one person potentially. One person in your whole entire life. And if you don't pick right, you're finished. Yeah, so love. She's lucky. A lot of women build a man up once he got on. He leaves her for someone else and gives the new woman everything the first one put. Absolutely. She's one of the lucky ones. Absolutely one of the lucky ones. You know, she might say, oh, I saw the potential. But I'm like, no, baby. You're one of the lucky ones. He could have easily turned into a prick. Easily. Especially with his history. Easily could have been one.
When things got bad, everybody was gone. You came to my house and you sat in the basement. And I remember looking you in your eyes. I'm looking in your eyes now and said, why are you here? What was your answer? What was your answer? You better stop crying.
You know? So yeah, I like them too. Ashley and Quick, they're gonna make it. They'll continue to be married and everything like that. But yeah, like honestly, by all means, Ashley was very, very lucky. She is very, very blessed because what other women have gone through, they've suffered at the hands of a man that is not ready, suffered at the hands of a man that doesn't, want to disrespect you, disregard you. Of course, they've done cheating, but they cheated on each other. You've got a decent one. The rest of the other people out here build bears. It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good. So yeah, for me, I like those two. And I love the fact they made up as well. And the fact that he supported her later on in her book deal. You know, he shouted her out on the stage. He wanted to propose and gave her another ring. Like, he really went all the stops and pulled them out when he wanted to surprise his queen, you know? And I love that about Ashley and Quick. I think from the very first episode, we've seen that. They can joke, they can banter, and they get on. They're fun. That's how they move. They're cool. So I love that. All right, cool. Let's talk a little bit about Monique and I don't want to go too long, but Monique and Chris. Oh boy, this was tight. Okay. This one's a tough one. Yeah. Someone said Ashley looked even more prettier off TV. Fantastic. We appreciate that. She's a good-looking woman anyway, so I expect that. Ashley seems very honest and open in this episode. I agree. 100%. I agree. 100% agree with that. Okay, let's get to this point. I want to just bring this in. Let's bring this in.
Monique can be difficult at times. You know, she's very demanding. At times she can be controlling. And at the end of the day, I will have it no other way. And at times I'll be real, like, you know, through the marriage, I'm like, man, why did I do this? But honestly, like, I will.
All right, cool. So very, very quickly, as he says there, you know what? For Chris, he loves Monique in all things, right? You know, yes, it's hard, it's tough, he's gone through things, but you know what? For him, he loves Monique. He loves Monique. He appreciates her. He wants to continue in the relationship with her. Nothing that she would have done would have changed his perspective. He said he would even marry her 10 times over. 10 times over. That is bars. Not even necessarily bars to say about, and bars in terms of that is real. That's how he feels really. And so now he's given her this information. What's interesting is what's about to come back. Right? Now, unfortunately, Chris decides to say something that probably shouldn't have been said. Let's have a look. Now, look. Does she have a point in terms of that? Can he give a compliment without bringing someone else into it? Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Problem being is, I think, honestly, in that moment, I think Monique is being extra sensitive in this moment. I get that she's feeling some weight, and I'm not saying she isn't. It's just interesting that even in that moment where he wasn't trying to say that he wants... oh, sorry, you can't hear the playback. Apologies, guys. I'll play it again. I'll play it again.
Else I've ever felt like this about. Even my college sweetheart, she was special because I never really been in.
Nobody asked about her.
Right,
Nobody asked about her.
So why y'all want to keep bringing up something 20 years ago?
You give me a compliment by bringing somebody else
No,
up.
pause. No.
I don't need.
Okay, so... Here we go. So... Oh, there's light there. Right. Okay, so in that moment, right, Chris is trying to say basically that my ex-girlfriend is nowhere near what as great as you were. Now, it's not the greatest compliment. It's silly, you know, and it's something that requires self-awareness. Like, he just needs to think about it. It wasn't a smart choice of words. But interestingly enough, you could hear that he was trying to be real and trying to show her in his own way, this is how I see things, right? Let me move this to the side. This is how I see things. I'm comparing you because I'm trying to let you know that this one doesn't really compare to you. Now, it was a wrong comparison to be making. And when he obviously said, listen, okay, I hear what you're saying, but let me just explain what I was trying to really say, right? That then turned into, don't shush me, you can't shush me, you can't tell me, you know, to quiet down my feelings. And then he apologized. And even as he was apologizing, she was still vexing at him. And I was like, honestly, she must know the personal sweetheart, because why the reaction was a bit wild. I wouldn't say wild, but it was a bit heavy, right?
To hear about how I beat out all the other ones that didn't deserve to be here. Just say that it doesn't even matter. You were the one always.
But don't try to shut me down when I'm trying
No,
to. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not shutting you down. I thought that I was trying to make a point to show you how genuine my love is for you. I shouldn't have brought it up.
And it seems like every single time they have situations like this, Monique wants to be able to level set him. Like and maybe he did this. Maybe he did this previously before in the marriage. I don't know. Maybe it happened in the marriage beforehand. In this situation, like she wanted to level set. Don't tell me to be quiet. And it's like, no, what he was trying to say is, listen, let me finish my point. Let me finish my point. You're cutting me off to explain how you feel about it, but let me finish off my point. And it always feels like Monique is trying to almost get a one up. It almost feels like she's always trying to get one up. And I think that's where I feel like there's a problem. And there's something deeper rooted for Monique that she's not really exploring and actually getting to grips with. So I'm interested to see why. I'm interested, but it was interesting to see how she behaved with him, because I was looking at going, babe, you heard what he said, right? He wasn't trying to do that. And then he's trying to explain it. And you're basically then now coming back on top of him. And it seems to be always the case. Every single time Monique has an issue, she seems to be on his case. And we spoke about this yesterday about how the constant critique regularly enough becomes a negative feedback loop. And what all that happens is the person just begins to believe that they're not good enough. They create insecurities. They don't feel like they're great. The person's light is dampened. They can't really give you the same love and affection they want to give, because they feel that, you know what, every time they do something, you're on their case.
I apologize.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But you are my...
No button.
Stop. You don't get it.
No, I'm being for real. I feel like you're my soulmate. I sure hope you feel the same.
I think we also need to give an opportunity for Chris just actually voice how he feels. Listen, it feels like every time Chris is going to say something, like, of course, if you say something nonsense and stupid, then of course it's not going to be beneficial. But I feel like everything he says gets critiqued, gets judged. And I feel like there's no safe space for him to really express how he feels without there being an attack. And this, I'm going to say this in the next kind of slide in terms of the next conversation. But it feels like every single time,
I still would do it over again, so it does. It is fairly hurtful for the...
Let me actually even get you to this part here. Let's bring this on.
That I don't like about you, I still would do it over again, so it does. It is fairly hurtful for to hear that.
Jay-Z and Beyonce, please.
I can't give y'all that.
Now, what he did was a perfect example of what I said about letting people know your feelings. I said, if you're hurt, say you're hurt. And what he just ended up doing, he said, listen, look, what you did really hurt my feelings by you saying that. Now she has to think. Now she has to think and go, okay, what did I do that was hurtful towards him? And if he then explains, look, when you did X, Y, Z, there can really be a better chance of transforming this situation and scenario. He was very eloquent with his words. He didn't mince them. He just said it straight, listen, look, that hurt my feelings. No complication, no way around it, no deflecting, no add-ons. Just straight up, look, hey, look, by you saying you didn't want to marry me again, that really hurt my feelings. Right? Let's bring to the next clip. This next clip, Chalet is different. Let me see if I can get it for you guys. This was a talk between Monique and Chris. Bruh, it was... anyone else get pissed? I'm not saying anything. You're not saying anything too harsh.
You surprised at my answer?
I was a little bit shocked, to be honest. So if I asked you to marry me again, you wouldn't do it?
I really don't know. I wouldn't marry you until I saw some for sure change first.
Mm-hmm.
I would appreciate if you could just...
Pause. Okay. Question was, about, obviously, what, would you marry again? She said, not sure, 100%. I'll need to see certain things that would need to change. Okay, cool. Fair enough. You want to see certain things that have changed. And next that comes again is another critique. It's another critique. It's like, another critique again? Like, when do we ever get to have every time we seem to have a conversation, there seems to be some critique from Monique to Chris. Even last time when he was saying he was looking after the kids, it didn't take long before she went into a critique. I was like, darling, do you not know how to relax? It's not everything you feel, you say. Let me
It's like, before you start talking, think about how what you're about to say might impact who you're about to say it about. And to bring up somebody that was somebody that you used to date, that you used to sleep with, that you were in love.
bit confusing, isn't it? Okay, so again, she's bringing up the situation from the other day where she says, confusing because he brought up another girl to compare. Why didn't she? Okay, in this instance, he's really explained and apologized about why he said what he said. He's let you know, listen, to be honest, let me be, look, I wasn't trying to do X, Y, Z. He's let her know, and then yet again, she goes after him again. Right? Goes after him again. Right? Goes after him again. Let's look at it one more time. Look, no, one more time. Listen to it again.
Of wit. That is hella disrespectful.
And you know what?
Embarrassing.
Okay, well, let me address that. I've only cared about one other person outside of you, but that wasn't even to the magnitude.
Now, she said, obviously, it was hella embarrassing. I don't know. I feel like she's putting 2 on 10. I'm not saying that it wasn't embarrassing, but it's almost as if there's something deeper that she's fighting, which she is, because she's going to explain it. She says she feels like she has to prove herself all the time, which means any comment that makes it feel like, any comment that's going to make it feel like, you have to prove yourself, or you feel like you're not good enough when the person, because a comparison, the issue that she had with the comparison actually isn't his fault. Can I say that? Okay. I said this on the other live where I said, I'm starting to learn that a lot of times we deal with certain things and it's not that you're not reacting to the other person. You're reacting to what the person represents, symbolism within yourself. The reason why the comparison hit her so hard wasn't because of what Chris said, was because she had trauma. And instead of her saying, hey, look, you know what? I have some trauma in me, and I didn't realize when you said it, it triggered me. And to say, look, you know what? It triggered me. And so when you said what you said, it just hurt me. That's what it all was. But when I look at it, there's trauma here. And the reason why she can't say that is because, one, I don't think she actually is aware of that. But there was trauma. That's why she reacted the way she did about the comparison, because the comparison wasn't that deep. Let's be honest.
To where I am.
But you just did it again, Chris.
No, listen. I mean, what more you want me to say? I'm being straight up.
Your tendency is you do something offensive, I call it out, and then you get mad at me for calling it
I'm
out.
not mad at you. I get defensive. I'm not mad at you. Something that I have to overcome and get better at is being defensive.
No, I love the fact that obviously, he said, I love the fact that he said, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I picked my nose and I almost ate it. I'm just going to be honest with you. That was rude. That was very rude. I don't know what I was thinking. I had to admit it because I was on camera. Hey, it is what it is. And then listen, look, that was a bit nasty. But listen, it was interesting to see how, she said, oh, when I bring up something to you, I tell you, and then literally you get angry. And I loved what he did. He just redirected her in a particular way. All right? And literally, he said, look, you know what? I don't get angry. I get defensive. Right? And I love that redirection. And the reason why I love that redirection is because sometimes we can see everything as anger, but he wouldn't. And that's what I'm saying to you. I'm starting to realize Monique isn't as deep as she thinks she is. And she makes it out like Chris isn't deep and Chris ain't got capacity. And I'm looking at it going, and yet he's the only one I'm seeing who is speaking from a place of self-awareness about what their behaviors do. It literally, in that moment, he was like, yo, it wasn't anger. It was me being defensive at what's happening. And I was like, that in itself is somebody understanding that even my reaction, this is the reason why I react, or this is what my reaction is. This is somebody understanding themselves. That is what we call deep, because you're having some level of self-awareness. And yet, that all seems to be coming from Chris, not necessarily coming from Monique. All right, let's listen a bit more.
So, am I going to change it overnight? No, that's something that has to be a process for me to change.
I know, I understand.
But my love for you is the same. Come on, Monique.
It's embarrassing. Like, it hurts my feelings.
Now, she said, it's embarrassing. It hurts my feelings. Interesting. Okay. But again, I don't want to minimalize what Monique was feeling in that moment. I just feel like I think we can all agree. I think we're all watching it and going, something's deeper than it's being made out. Something's not fully being made aware to us that Monique is going through. Of course, okay, she said it's embarrassing, and I'm like, the guy didn't mean no harm when he was saying about, saying, oh look, about the comparison. There was no tone, there was no rudeness, there was no anger when he said it, there was no seemingly malice or anything like that. He just said, listen, hey, look, my ex-girlfriend, she was like this. He didn't even get to finish the example before she jumped on his neck. So the fact that she's obviously said claiming that it's embarrassing and da-da-da, I'm like, is it? What is really happening? What are you not really explaining to us, Monique, about this whole situation? Okay.
In our marriage,
is it me? Maybe I'm cynical. I didn't really see any tears, man. I didn't see any tears. Anyone else see any tears? I didn't see no tears, guys. I didn't see no tears. Anyone else see some tears? I didn't see the tears. No offense to Monique, I just didn't see the tears. It felt a little bit like a bit of acting there. Just a little bit, A little bit of acting there to make it seem like you're very, very emotional. You get him to pull in. He now hugs you, tell you everything's okay. And it slightly give me an energy, because obviously we're talking about this whole, someone said dry cry, okay, Katie said there was a couple there still. There was a couple there, so it wasn't a dry cry. Okay, there was a couple there. It's slightly give me the energy in this part of the show. This does give me slightly a little bit like, you know what? Almost the frustration is not necessarily with Chris, but almost with herself. I feel like she's almost ready to. I feel like she's in her mind mentally packing her bags. And I feel like when you're mentally packing your bags, everything becomes frustrating and annoying. And you also become very real and truthful in those moments too, because you're packing your bag and you're about to leave. But I feel like there's a little bit of that sentiment there that she's already out the door, and that's why her behavior is the way it is in terms of their connection at the moment. Because now he's had to pull her in, hug her, all right, tell her she's okay, and it's like, okay, we'll play it and we'll see anyway.
at times I feel very insignificant, and I feel like I'm always trying to prove myself. And that's pretty much been my life. Always trying to prove that I'm valuable.
No, baby.
So she felt like she's had to all her life try to prove herself, and she feels insignificant, which is why I'm saying the reaction to the comparison is not about the comparison, but about what you feel. And that is trauma within. That's nothing he can do. He can't heal that. That's what Monique needs to do. Monique is saying about he needs to be, grab a life coach or whatever he needs to improve. I'm looking at Monique like, Monique, there is some scars that you're carrying. There's some weight you're carrying. You've been carrying for a long time. And it's now beginning to come out. So that's why the comparison came out the way it did. That's why the comparison was embarrassing for you, because it's not really reacting to him. You're reacting to the comment that made you feel something that you felt back in the past. And now you're reacting based on the past feel in the present behavior. Oh.
You don't have to
Trying to
prove
prove,
anything.
no, don't say that, because it's not what you think, it's what I feel.
Right.
I'm always feeling like I constantly have to prove my value, prove my worthiness.
Even there, when he tried to encourage her, she said, no, don't encourage me in this moment. How I feel is how I feel. And it seems like maybe things that have happened in the past, maybe not just a relationship, but how people have treated her, she's now using the relationship as a way to almost self-correct. Problem is, it's the way it's coming out. It's becoming problematic for your relationship. You know, when you hear even say, oh, that's how I feel, like, and he's there trying to encourage you. It's every single thing that he says is never going to be right. Anything he says will not be okay. Anything he ever says will not be enough. He can never win.
Who wants to hear that they have to be compared to the worst of a situation in order to feel valuable?
You know what? So, let me.
I don't think that he was comparing you to be the worst to feel valuable. I think what he was saying was that, fam, I've only ever loved one other person or cared about one other person, and you trump that person. That's what we heard, at least. Why is it that your mind went to compare me to the worst person? Was his ex the worst person? And even if she was, and he says you're better, if he says you're better, if a girl says to me, listen, look, my ex has not been that great, you're a better ex, I'm like, all right, cool, I appreciate that, man. Take it as it is. But because of her need to prove to everybody, that comparison became a problem for her. It was deeper than just a comparison. That's what she needs to admit to him so he understands fully. I know she kind of said it a little bit. She needs to fully embrace that and share that with him so he gets into her mindset so that she doesn't become isolated. Yeah, I hear this point still. Yeah, I hear that still. It's so true. So true. Let's get this on the screen going.
Prove myself to everybody, and then I get to show them the stick every time. And then when I bring it up and say something about it, then I'm combative or I'm being a nag or I'm doing too much.
Pause, you're not doing too much. And it hurts me right now to see you hurting because I know my intentions.
Once again, we find Chris in a place where he's again supporting Monique and he's uplifting her once again, saying, listen, look, I honor your feelings. I'm hearing you. And no, you don't have to even feel like that. You don't have to feel like that because you know what? Your feelings are valid. Please tell me what's going on. What? This is somebody who you say requires growth. This is somebody who says that this gentleman here is not growing enough for her. He's not giving her deep thoughts enough. But he's out here giving us deep thoughts, self-reflective thoughts, encouraging you, supporting you, doing the kids. When you wanted him to do the kids, he took over, and then you trounce him. Instead of actually giving any positive, like Monique struggles to give the positive regard to him. Like, I remember he asked her one question, would you say anything nice about me? She says, oh, you're a good husband, you're good with the kids. That was really about it. I said, oh, that's all you can really say? It's like, okay, yeah, babe, I think you might want to look a bit deeper into that, man. Someone said she used some tears to manipulate him. I personally did think so. I'll be honest with you. I felt like the tears were to draw him in, make him emotionally care. I really do. I didn't really feel the tears were genuine per se. Only she knows, but it didn't feel that genuine, if I'm honest with you. Felt like acting a little bit.
It was genuine. My intentions was good. And now you sitting here upset. You were embarrassed by it, and I apologize. I own every bit of it. Like, I love you, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to do a separate video, though. I'm going to go deeper into the Monique and Chris situation because I want to go deeper. But I want to just do this live so I can just do a little talk about it. But I want to go deeper with them, and I want to take it clip by clip and show you guys effectively. So I'll do that later on this evening for you guys, American time. But yeah, I just want to do a quick live on episode 10 because I've all caught up to Love and Marriage. We've got episode 11 next week as well. Ready to Love starts next week as well. This is it. This is it, Aya. This is it. You just hit a nail on the head. Nail on the head. She's critical and she can't give support because she never received it herself. She's only doing what she's been trained to do. Honestly. So yeah, we'll see you guys again very, very soon. Make sure you guys also jump onto Dark Arts channel. I'll be there later on this evening as well, giving a talk as well. I believe we're talking about sex, being conned by sex. We're talking about. So make sure you also tune into that as well. But listen, guys, like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. We'll see you again very, very soon. Oh yeah.
Level black, you know what time it is.